I got a good angle on you. I ain't gonna.
Do properly moisturize everything today.
I'm not gonna leave that. That's
Wait, Marcus, I feel like you saying that's not my everyday.
No.
Okay,
listen, kid. I'm not even. I don't doubt it. Because
I mean, let's talk about it.
I have a way. Like my wife was like, why you have a routine? I'm like, yeah, like.
But it's not just it. I told somebody this the other day. Sex sales. I don't care what industry you're in. Sex sells.
Hell yeah.
It doesn't mean that you have to actually get out here and sell sex, but there are a lot of clients that I'm gonna pull in just because of how I look, and
Really?
I bank on. Oh, absolutely.
So are you good looking in the game?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm
I'm good looking in any world. Wait a minute. I feel
Well,
a
here's
little
the
slighted
thing.
by that
All right,
one.
No. Here's the thing. And I give this example. Don't take it the wrong way. When I see
hit record.
Oh yeah, it's recording right now.
Yeah, we gotta record this.
When I see two other animals, any other, because we're animals, we're humans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the ability to discern the difference between a male animal and a female animal unless there's like some really distinctive secondary characteristic.
I follow.
Like a lion who has a large mane. Okay, we can tell the difference. But like two dogs, I can't tell the difference between a male dog and a female dog unless I lift up and look and go, oh, that's a male, that's a female. So for me to say I'm attracted to a male dog or a female dog, I'm not, because I don't have that level of discernment to be able to differentiate, make those distinctions, and then determine if one is attracted to me or not. So it's kind of the same thing with men. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some men I look at and I'm like, God dang, that's a good looking dude.
Partially.
For me, I'm just saying for me, like, and it's not a sexual thing. It's just I go, oh, he has a very symmetrical face, tall, has a really good build. I would assume that women find him attractive.
So I'm agree with what you said. I'm gonna separate a little bit between the animals. Between the animals, you're kind of determining male, female if they're attractive. When it comes to the actual human, I think taking out the sexuality of it, we all have an idea of what we find to be attractive.
For sure.
The sexuality comes in afterwards. So when the question is asked, hey, are you good looking in the gay world or the straight world? I'm going to be a little shady and say, if I'm attractive in the gay world, I'm most certainly definitely attractive in the straight world because we go the extra mile. And the gays are more strenuous than the straights. When
you say strenuous, what do you mean?
Strenuous with our looks and strenuous on how
we guys are a little bit more picky.
I could fit in the straight world much easier, much faster than I could in the gay world when it comes to looks. Like we are.
When you say strenuous, more critical, you saying more critical about?
Oh, absolutely. Like we what you guys consider. Okay, so dad bods. To be honest, dad bods just became a thing in the gay world because in the gay world, you had to be tight, you had to be built, you had to be good looking.
Right.
Even your hairstyle. That hairstyle now may come into the gay world. Previously, it's not tamed enough.
Oh.
It's not straight. So if I can make it in the gay world,
this is probably why I didn't make it in the gay world.
Listen,
it makes sense now.
I think what Ken just said was, "Hey,
all
you
the
need to brush your."
he
said you need to brush
no,
your.
He said I look good now.
Now it's acceptable.
Previously,
so if a person
I could make it in the gay world.
In there,
I can make it in the gay world, right?
There's a lot of gays, and that's another thing I want.
Wait, you didn't say yes or no. I'm just offended right now.
I'm gonna say yes.
He going around.
I'm gonna say yes, but I'm gonna say that.
Okay, good. Thank you. Good enough.
Even with what I just said, because we had set this bar so high, every time you think of a gay man, you think that he's so well dressed, so everything, so top of everything. Being in the gay world, I can assure you, it's not that way. There are some.
Okay, so let's get straight to the point. Rate me in the gay world on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm ready for it.
Oh, you want the truth?
Yeah.
In the gay world, okay. So which are you talking about? Just a flat out gay world? Or are you talking about like the gays that want to be on top of things?
Oh, give me both.
So I'm one of the gays, as I mentioned. I like to be on top of things.
You a top or you a bottom of the verse?
Wait, you done went to a whole nother subject.
I thought that's what you meant by
hold on.
You said top. I'm trying to see. Okay, no, go with your point. Because I thought you meant like on the top of the thing. I'm like, I thought you was being like euphemistic.
No, I wasn't going that far. I mean, as far as there's some gays, as we were discussing a little bit before the show, that are extra, or that the world considers to be extra. But to us, it's just normal. So I met a guy when I was out of the country. He said, Ken, what I love about you is you're so extra, but it's so natural. But that explains it. It's just natural for me to be extra. So moisturize. I had a gay guy to tell me like last week. He like, damn, you extra moisturized. I'm like, nah, this my normal. I believe in it. And the black people say black don't crack. Nah, that's BS. Black don't crack if you take care of it.
Yeah.
So therefore, I try to take care of it. So back to your question, when you say, if I were to put you in a world that I attempt to be a part of, the immaculate gays, I would give you a 6, 7.
Okay.
If I were to put you in the regular world of gays, just because you got nice hair, you seem to be trim, I would give you an 8 or 9.
Oh,
So it just depends on where you go, and I want people to understand that gays are such a big spectrum. It's not just one type of gay out here.
I noticed you didn't ask, Marcus. You scared? Step up to the mic,
No,
Marcus. Don't be scared.
Marcus is closer to, I guess, in the straight world, we call him a pretty boy. So he'll already be kind of up there.
Is he better looking than me?
You better know it.
Come on, no.
You better know two different
spectrum. I got
spectrums.
flavor, and I'm funny.
I ain't seen you dressed up yet, so it's different.
Right.
I gotta see you when you get you.
But also, y'all care about sensitive humor, right? Like humor is.
But see again, that's why I feel like in all your questions, you have a mindset that is one group.
Yeah,
there's so many of us that I can't really answer for everybody. I'm gonna be speaking from my extra perspective.
I want you to answer for everybody because
I cannot. I know.
You know how like when you're the one black person in the crew,
right?
And all the white people ask you to answer for all black people in existence. Why do black people say that? Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm not the Negro representative.
There you go.
Why are you asking me?
And I'm gonna say everything
so I want
I
you
say
to be the
today.
gay representative.
Today everything is my perspective and everything is alleged. Just to make sure we have
alleged,
that on there.
Right.
The comments and views expressed by Tim Macon does not represent the only comments and views of the LGBT community.
Kelly Williams' office is independently owned and operated.
It's like the disclaimer at the end of the.
I can't speak for all of us. I'll speak for me. Everything I'll say will be kind of from my perspective, but there's a wide range of gays in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be the same. It's like saying like, well, I mean, straight people, we're pretty monolithic. Like you either ugly or you're not. And then, we are. As far as like our definition of what's attractive and what's not, it's pretty much like, we got our 8s, 9s, and 10s, and then everybody under that is like, if you're a 7, it's really personality.
But there's a
we're not as stringent. I mean, have you walked to like Target or
there's somebody for everybody though, right?
That's what I'm saying. Right? And it goes on a spectrum of attractiveness because you're not going to now when it's a man. Here's like this. All right, here you go. A man can be less attractive than a woman has to be and still pull a quality mate.
Say that again.
Oh no!
Yes, for sure. Let me tell you why. Because women.
Hold on. I need you to say it again because
a man can be less attractive than his corresponding female counterpart, and a man can still pull a higher quality woman than if a woman is not attractive, she will not be able to pull a high quality man. It's just the way it is.
Not in this day of hyper-independent females.
No, I'm not talking about independent females who don't want to be with me. I'm talking about
the physical.
Right. So, for example, if let's say you said I'm a 6, right? I'll take 6 in the gay world. In the straight world, because women look at more than just
what is
looks.
A 6 in the straight world?
I might be a 6 in the straight world. That's fine. But in the straight world, women look at other factors when it comes to when they determine if you're attractive. They look at your ability to lead men. Okay. They look at your ability to generate to provide, right? Your ability to generate income. They look at your humor.
No, wait a minute. Would you be astonished if I told you gay men do the same exact thing?
No. What I'm saying, but let me finish my point. Okay. I agree with you.
So we need to talk about real estate because that's a great point that you bring up.
But we ain't got no notes.
Not to cut you off, but I'm gonna cut you off because some of the people that we've worked with, when I've looked at both of them, and I'm like, oh, this is this one and this is that one, and I'm like, we've done double feminine.
We've done couple before,
yes, and 2 men, I think, as well. But when I look at their profile,
you're not gonna figure it out, are you?
Huh?
You wouldn't be able to figure out who's the dominant, who's lead.
I have no idea who's. I will say this: by who is doing most of the communication. I know who's.
I don't think that's
dominant in that space. Well, in that space,
I was gonna break your point down.
Hold on,
because I've done deals with hetero couples, right? Heterosexual couples, where the woman is the more dominant. Correct. It has nothing to do with her gender. It's just. She just is, and the man is just back. He's like,
that's what I'm saying in this particular space. So when we're talking about submitting documents, making sure that all T's crossed,
very thin ice, by the way. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, everybody. My name is Dan the Realtor.
Mortgage Coach Marcus.
And today we got a very, very special guest. We got Ken. What's going on, Ken?
I am Mr. Making It Happen, Ken Macon. Thank you so
Christopher
much.
Ken Macon.
So if you came we just ran it, yo. If you came in the middle of this podcast.
Originally from Alabama.
And let me just tell y'all. Real estate is a network. Like, you gotta really trust people. Was it
no
like and trust the people that you work with? I don't know why I had a brain fart, but like, this is my first time meeting Ken in person. My very first time, and we've been talking working together 2 years.
Y'all been closing deals?
Yeah.
And you never, that's what's dope about this business. Like, you could literally just be a fat slob on your couch and be closing. Never have to leave your house. Like, if you think about it, you wouldn't even have to show up to settlement.
That's right.
But you gotta
be there for your clients.
But the fact that
we are.
But the fact that he is he's on his job. Like, he is great in these streets with the people and communication, and he's unafraid. You call the fashion realtor, right? So, and you dominate the Baltimore space, right? That's
your primary market. Baltimore guy.
I recently became.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your business.
Delaware. Look, I'm giving.
I appreciate.
I'm proud of this dude.
Tell us about your business, Cam.
A lot of people don't know. I actually got DC first because a lot of people think I shoved Baltimore. No, it's just that I'm in real estate not just for selling a house. I'm actually trying to build generational wealth. And it sounds cliche.
It's so cliche.
When I got in, I was going through classes, and I found out at the time that I was in class, less than 50% of Black people own homes. It set off a light in my head, and I'm just like, I gotta be able to do something about this.
Yeah.
So when I'm pushing Baltimore, if I'm pushing Maryland, it doesn't mean that I like it more than DC. DC's gonna pay me more. Clearly. So if I were just looking for money, I would shoot for DC all the time. But until we get to a space where we have enough home ownership where I can worry about the money, that's going to be secondary to me. Yeah. I got to be able to get people into things that they can afford. And so when I work with the clients I work with, are generally going to be first-time home buyers. Me thinking about the longevity of it all, them being able to actually get into something that they love, being able to tell the next person that Ken got me into something I love, that's my name, that's my brand, that's who I am. So I actually got DC first, then I got Maryland. I recently got Virginia and Delaware. So I am kind of Baltimore just because I have finally lived there. COVID is over and I've got out and seen it, and Baltimore is culture. Baltimore is seriously culture. And so therefore I have been pushing Baltimore, and again, nothing against DC, but Baltimore itself has just given out so much assistance when it comes to helping.
Baltimore, to me, all right, if you're from Baltimore, don't hate on me right now. And don't DM me.
I'm going to defend y'all. Hold on one second.
I'm ready. Put your dukes up, buddy, because I'm coming. I'm coming for you.
Hey, Baltimore ain't putting up no dukes. They coming. They coming.
I'm ready. Put your gats out, Baltimore. Here's the thing. So let me tell you a funny story about Baltimore. So one time I went to Baltimore and I went to the Royal Farms. You know, the only Royal Farms in Baltimore when you come out of 95. And I go to the grocery store. Yep. I'm throwing them in a little bit at a time. So then I went to get some wedges and some fried chicken. Because of my skin color, I like fried chicken.
You get the gravy?
I ain't get no gravy. I got barbecue sauce.
Oh, you tripping.
Barbecue sauce is the much more sexy cousin of ketchup. I hate ketchup.
Okay.
I don't even know why they put ketchup on tables. Like, just give me barbecue sauce and mayonnaise.
You know, barbecue sauce is made with ketchup.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like the advanced version of ketchup. So we should just eliminate ketchup as a topic of conversation. Just put barbecue sauce on. But I digress. So I go, I pay my bill, stand behind the joint, waiting for her to put the wedges and the chicken in the box. She puts the wedges and chicken in the box. I pay. She goes, "Do you want a bag?" And I was like, "No, I'm paying. I don't need to beg for anything."
Here we go. Here we go.
Why would I beg? I'm not begging you. Just put it in the bag. I'll take the order. I'll go on my way. I got a client I'm meeting, right? She's like, "No. Do you want a bag?" And for those of y'all listening to the podcast, my hands were on my hips and my neck was shaking in a sassy-like manner. So she goes, "Do you want a bag?" And I was like, "Oh, you're saying bag." And she was like, "Yes, do you want a bag?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." And that's the Baltimore accent that everybody's talking about.
So let me touch on this from two spaces. I am from Alabama, and now I live in Baltimore. So
Baltimore.
the funny thing
Wait a
that
minute, hold on. Alabama. They say Alabama. I've heard Ricky Smiley and all.
And see, here we go. Marcus jumping on the train. But let me tell you
Finish your point.
This is the point.
ALABUMA. That's how they say it.
Alabama.
I want people to understand that an accent simply means you sound differently than I do. So every time someone says to me, "You have an accent," and I say to them, "Well, you have an accent," they seem astonished, and I'm just like, "We just talk differently."
But it's about home field advantage, because if I go to North Carolina, yeah, I got an accent. I got a DC
So
accent.
think about what you just said.
Accent.
You were in Baltimore when you said that she had an accent because she said big.
You
But
just
to
called
her,
me out
you were the
there.
one that
You
had
just
an
called me out
accent.
there. You were right.
That's the facts.
Well,
it just means you talk
you're right
differently.
about that. You're 100% right.
Hey,
And
but Baltimore's a different world with a different accent.
She still has a Baltimore accent, though.
Drive 30 minutes down, you got a different accent, but then drive across another bridge.
There you
You
go.
go to PGDC, like
I mean, that's
they
like
have
the
a whole
area. Like
vocabulary.
everybody from PG say everybody in DC.
mothers.
Oh yeah, there's
mother,
all of it,
There's all
all of it, all of
Yeah.
it. So yeah, that's the world.
Some of my best friends that live in DC, shout out Derek and Delmar, like when we were younger, growing up around them, and their parents did insurance with my parents, they would talk, and I'd be like, "What y'all saying?" Like, I don't understand it. And the way, but it was so cool to me the way that they could do it. So, but then there's all this whole debate about, is Baltimore the DMV? Is, what's the
Baltimore's not the DMV. They don't even want
it's
it.
not. It's different.
They don't want to be a part of the DMV.
I think that's only because DC is continually telling them that they're not.
Baltimore is a different world.
Well,
But looking at it-
I mean, okay.
Okay.
Is that why you think so? It's a chicken and the egg. You think we started it, not them?
Yeah, actually, I do.
So you're saying we tried to invite them into the DMV?
DC wants to do the
or they
hierarchy,
tried to-
so they got to separate people. But then when you say what's the
that's
DMV,
true.
what is the DMV? What part of
Maryland.
Virginia is included?
But Virginia is not the DMV.
There you go. Where does the B come from?
Virginia
Then
is part of the DMV.
I mean,
Not
it
all of
technically is,
it.
but if
Not
you-
all of it.
But there's a DMV culture as well, and Virginia is not a part of that
Let me
DMV
just tell you,
culture.
Then you can't
Outside,
really have
outside
the
of
beef.
I think
I mean,
outside of
nobody wants to
Alexandria.
be a part of the DM. Like
That's my point. So if DC is so
be
mighty,
as sexy as all.
stick to being DC.
But I think you know what I heard it explained this way the best. DMV is only people who have access to the metro. Where the metro station stops, you're not in the DMV anymore. So Fredericksburg, that ain't the DMV.
Metro goes all the way to Ashburn now, and Ashburn,
That's how I heard. Hey, don't kill the messenger.
So to your point, does that put Baltimore in the DMV?
No, they
Does
not.
Metro
They don't
go
have
to-
access
Metro
to
goes
the
to
metro.
Go to BWI.
Oh, it do. Ken, you dropping dimes right now.
Hey, he's a realtor. He knows his area,
This dude
his
straight made me
market.
think like 5 times. We ain't even started yet. I'm like, oh wow.
The funny thing is, I have to do this on a daily basis, and the sad part is,
Constantly
I'm an
correcting
outsider.
paradigms.
I'm an outsider, to be honest. I'm from Alabama, so all this stuff is just. But it seems to be the same story. If you're from the South and you go to Atlanta is going to have an issue with everybody else saying that they're from Atlanta. But
Right.
let's be honest. If you don't live in that area, nobody's going to know what Lawrenceville is. If you come here and you say, "Oh, I live in Glen Burnie," who knows where that is? Nobody does.
Nobody knows
If
where
you say
that
I'm
is.
from the DMV, okay, they got it. If I say, "Oh, you live in Dundalk," nobody knows what it is, so they're gonna say I live in
What the heck is
Baltimore.
that?
There you go. It's literally I live 5
Dundalk?
minutes from Dundalk. It's literally a part of
Spell that.
That's
I
like
never even heard it.
Dundalk. Dundalk.
Dundalk.
Bro, that's what I asked you about that client I
It's in
have,
Baltimore County.
and you
Oh,
were
that's
like,
Baltimore?
Mm-hmm.
Dundalk.
Dundalk, Maryland.
Marcus, I think we need to jump in to you first and talk about these mortgage rates, brother. So, what's the update? What's going on in America right now?
So I'm going to give you I normally don't read it and just kind of give my perspective, but I'm going to talk about what a Freddie Mac chief economist stated, because our interest rates the Freddie Mac rates are sitting at like 6.65, but if you go to any lender, or if you look around, they're quoting you usually somewhere around 7.125. But chief economist Sam Cater says, as we started the year, the 30-year fixed mortgage decreased with expectations of lower economic growth, inflation, and a loosening of monetary policy. However, given sustained economic growth and continued inflation, mortgage rates boomerang and are inching up towards 7%, which
Yeah,
again,
I thought I saw 8 somewhere at some point. Where they at right
I
now?
don't know, somebody hitting somebody in the head for 8% interest rate.
I saw 8.
But I will say this. If you you might actually be at 8% if, depending on the loan type, or if you're not putting down a lot of money. Let's say you have an aggressive scenario where you need a bank statement loan because you can't show your W-2s or in your tax and pay stubs or tax returns or whatever for a self-employed. You might have some sort of outside the box scenario that'll put your interest rate at 8%. But again, if you don't have that situation and you go to some other lenders, these lenders might have the margins that we're talking about, eliminating. Shout out to myself because I got a special announcement in 2 weeks. But there's
we got a couple of announcements coming up.
Yeah,
we got the home buyer seminar, and then your surprise. We'll save it. Save it, guys.
Keep your lip shut.
We ain't gonna tell you nothing right now.
but so like trying to eliminate margins to benefit the people.
And here's what's interesting, bro, about interest rates, right? When we look historically, and you know me, I'm the data chart guy. I love a good chart, kind of like Kamala Harris likes Venn diagrams. So when you look historically at the interest rates, right, in I'll say about 1986, 84, 86.
You born then?
Around 1980. Interest rates were at 6. Yeah, I was born in 1982.
Okay.
You was born in 1972.
77, boy.
The same difference. In 1980, the interest rates, the mortgage rates, not the interest rates, but the mortgage rates were at 16.63%. And people were still buying and selling real estate. And in around 1992, they jumped up to like 7.81. And then they've pretty much historically gone down from there. I think the last time we looked was at 5.97. And then a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago, they shot up again to where we at right now?
The Freddie Mac rate is like over 6.5, 6.6. Yeah.
So I think that, like, putting this in perspective, when we say, interest rates are high, they're high relative to where we were.
Especially during COVID.
Especially during the pandemic. But when you look historically, you'll say, well, the last time we hit 7.81 was in the 90s. And the last time we hit 16% was in the 80s. And so, the interest rates are about historically average, at par with where we've been historically.
Yeah, and I think that if we are sitting at 7%, it's still a good time to buy real estate.
For
we
sure.
hit 7.5%, 8%. It's still a good time to buy real estate because you have to find the right deal and buy what works for you. I've been saying this the last few months. Buy what works for you. Don't overextend yourself. But this is, in a lot of situations, we're talking to first-time buyers and maybe like your repeat buyers that are not.
And even if you already have a house and you want to sell it, you wonder where I'm going to go.
You're right.
Well, the refi market is still going to exist. And I think if, you're waiting correspondingly thinking that, well, I'll wait for the interest rates to drop, you got to remember, the last 2 years when the interest rates dropped, what happened to the prices?
Prices skyrocketed.
Exactly.
And I've talked. So every market is not the same. And I'm gonna touch on the southern market. When I say southern, meaning like in some of the southern states. And I'm gonna go back into a little bit of history. But first point is, I was talking to a realtor, high producing realtor out my way in Virginia, and she was saying that she had a client came to her pre-approved. It was a referral. And she said that the first time buyers, they went and saw, she took them out 3 times. And each time they put out multiple offers on properties. And she gave me one example. One house they put an offer on had 14 offers. And the house ended up getting sold to someone who offered cash. And it was 10% above listing.
Still in multiple bid situations,
right.
Even in high interest rate.
And then there was another property that they were 1 of 4, didn't get it. Another property they were 1 of 6 and didn't get it.
That's a brilliant point because real estate is hyper-local.
Hyper-local. And it's still an aggressive market. We say seller's market or buyer's market.
It's technically a seller's market. We're still at 1.38 months.
Practically, it's a buyer's market.
That's a good point. It feels like a buyer's market, but only in comparison to where we came from. Because a real buyer's market is where, when I started real estate in 2011, 2012, where you literally drive down the street and you see nothing but for sale signs everywhere.
Okay.
And then your buyers go, it's too much. I don't know where to choose. Right. That's a full buyer's market. But yeah, to your point, Marcus.
And also, when we talk about the rates, I've seen in certain markets end up with different rates than other markets, right? So if you go into, your more urban markets, you get to the DC, your, Prince George's County, your Montgomery County, the area, Alexandria, like when you have your more affluent clients that have, let's say, better credit scores, a little bit more money to put down, they're very research heavy, so they're going to shop around and they're conscious about the rates.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually been presented with people that have said, oh, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, somebody quoted 5.75. Now the market hasn't changed that aggressively, but the people in that market know that they have to be aggressive with their interest rates to compete.
Oh, you mean the local lenders?
Right. But you go a little bit further out, you go down south where there's not as much education, not as much affluence. You could see the 8% that you're talking about because the people don't get educated and they don't have access to as much information. So they walk in and they can get 7 or 8% and they don't know the difference. Yeah, but that's why we're here to educate.
What are you seeing in your market?
Well, what I wanted to say is I think that we have to realize that research is based on how far and how in depth a person is willing to research. So even when you talk about the interest rates in the 90s or the interest rates in the early 2000s, the way you see the market versus the way I see the market is going to be different because you've been in it for twice as long as I have. So even when it comes to my research and my experience, it's going to be based on the time that I've been in. So for the 4 years that I've been in, this goes for myself and for my buyers. We only know what we've experienced during that time period. So the buyers that I have now, like I have literally four pre-approved buyers that will not spend their pre-approved amount because they feel like the interest rates are too high. And we may say to them, and I have said to them, historically, these are pretty good rates.
Yeah, that don't mean nothing.
That means nothing to them because they only know what they've seen.
Their pocketbooks today.
They only know that, and this is, and let's be honest, this is a world where I want what the last person got.
For sure.
And all of my clients are saying, well, my cousin just bought a house last year and their interest rate was 2%. Why am I getting 6%?
And it works with sellers too because sellers go, well, 2 years ago, my neighbor got this for his house.
There you go. They say my neighbor sold their house $200,000 over.
Yeah,
what are you trying to get? I lost a client last year. I lost a friend and a client last year.
Two or the same person in one.
She did me dirty because the CMA was not giving what she wanted. And I cannot, and this is what becomes hard for us as agents. And the same thing for buyers. Telling a person that their heart is not worth what they think it's worth.
Their house.
That's their house. The person that's lived in this house, put their time, energy, their family, their memories in there. That's their heart. You come and say your heart's not worth what you think it's worth.
I mean, I think that
I've
comes
never heard that my heart is not what I think it's worth.
So I'm gonna leave you 2 points on that. I think you'll
understand. Where you steal that from, Ken?
It's real. Like it's just really what I've been thinking about because when you go into anything that you put into it, you put your heart and soul. And it really came from me because when I moved in my place, I just started making everything in there what I wanted to be. So it became so heart heavy to me, even when people came to visit, how they treated my home. So this is a real life experience of where I got this from. But going through that to say to those sellers, hey, you need to bring the price down. You need to do A, B, C, D. That doesn't work well for them. So to jump to another little point is, as an agent, you got to learn how to work the market. So for me, I'm one of the last agents you'll see go in there and ask for a reduction because I feel like that. You're telling the seller your heart's not what it's worth, but I'm the first agent you'll see ask for closing costs because it's saying to the seller, hey, your heart's not worth this. Take $20,000 off of it versus coming back and say your heart's worth everything you said it's worth. I just need some help from you in purchasing.
I mean, I work a lot with homeowners who are wanting to sell their house, and you're making a really good point. I think typically it's about having that conversation up front and letting them know that you care more than you let them know how much you know, right? And so, a lot of times I saw something on the internet about how most buyers think it's 2008 and most sellers think it's 2021, right? We're somewhere in the middle. We're in a place we've never been before because we have we have higher interest rates than we just came out of a market where we had historically low interest rates. So we've never had an interest rate market that low before. So this is a completely new place. Right. And now, not only do we have that, but because of the low interest rates, we don't have enough inventory to be able to supply all the demand, the pent up demand that we have. So, and that's what's keeping that upward pressure on the prices, right? Where it's kind of like, all right, the buyers want it for I think there's a joke that says, at the end of a transaction, there's only one person is happy and everybody else is mad, right? The buyer thinks he should have got it for less. Seller thinks he should have got it for more, and then the real estate agents walk away with the money, right? So it's a terrible joke, but it's actually true. It's like, hey man, like, yeah, I to your point, which is, I know you want to sell your house for this much, but let me ask you a question. Do you want to sell your house or do you want it to sit on the market for a long period of time? What good is having your property on the market if nobody's buying it?
Right.
Right? And at this point, like we said last night, congratulations, Mr. Homeowner. You're the highest bidder for your property.
I stole that from your last podcast. I heard you saying when you're the highest bidder, guess what? You get to keep it.
You get to keep it.
I stole that from the podcast, so I took some from you too. So that's true.
Yeah, and it's a really good conversation to have with our sellers, which leads, I think, into our next topic, which is to buy or not to buy.
Yeah. As we move into this next topic, I want you to highlight this program or this little nuance in Baltimore that you shout out all the time.
Oh, let's get to that. Let's put a pin in it.
Okay.
I want to talk about.
You know what I'm ready to talk about, right? The tour.
Oh, the Charlie tour. I love the Charlie tour.
Okay. Yeah, I really want to hear about that. We'll keep you guys in suspense. So here's where we are as far as not to buy or not to buy, which is a conversation that I had with one of my clients the other day, and trying to push him off the fence into home ownership because right now he's renting, and he's like, yeah, man, we've been looking for a while. We were looking in 2020 when the interest rates were ridiculously low. And he wanted to wait, right, and see if prices come down. Well, that actually didn't end up happening. Prices actually went up, right? And now the interest rates have also gone up. And so the challenge that I think he was experiencing is like, when do I jump into the market? And my advice to him was, like we tell everybody, don't try to time the market. It's about time in the market. So when you look at the home prices historically, from 1990, the average median sale price was $94,000 in America. $94,000. Then prices continued to go up until 2006, when the median sale price was $222,000. So that's about a 20-something year span where prices are continuing to go up. Now, if we were using the strategy of I'm going to wait for prices to go down, you would have missed out, right? Because that's $94,000 to $222,000. That's over $100,000 worth of equity that you lost out on. Then in 2012, prices took a dip, right? Because we had the Great Recession, which was the only Great Recession we had. Like we talked about in previous podcasts, the only time prices have gone down during the recession was twice. And then the other 4 recessions that we had, prices went up. So if we're looking at a recessionary market like we're looking at now, which again, like I said, I think we're in a recession, prices are more likely to go up, and we can see that. In 2011, the average, the median sale price was $166,000. So it went down from $222,000. It went down to $166,000. Most people go, oh, see, that's what I'm waiting on. But that $166,000 in 2011 is still more than the $94,000 in 1990. So it took a dip. But it never went back down to the 94,000.
Okay, when can I jump in?
Okay, because I got a little piece. I'm ready.
So when you jump in the market,
you go, and then I'll go.
You can jump. Here's the deal. When you're going to jump into the market, let me ask you this: if this was 2011, and you saw the prices went down to 166, it took 10 years from 2006 to 2016 for the prices to go back up to 222,000, and then it never went back down. And now the average median sale price, guess how much? $386,000.
Go, Ken, because I got
home ownership is not a short-term investment. I don't care.
Say that again, brother.
Yeah, home ownership is just not a short-term investment. So I'm going to follow up. And again, I had to do my research before coming on the podcast. So I'm going to go to a part of where you guys had this conversation, I think 1 or 2 podcasts ago. It's always a good time to buy. It's always a good time to buy. And the one point I always point out to my clients, or even if I'm just having a general conversation, you're paying a mortgage regardless. Whether it's your mortgage or whether it's somebody else's mortgage, guess what? You are paying a mortgage.
That'll preach.
And the thing that I think scares people is, number one, knowledge. Sad thing, I love Alabama, I love the South, I love all those good things. I don't know about the school system here, but credit, home ownership, those are not things we learn in school.
For sure.
Sadly, they're not really things I learned at home either.
For sure.
Being in the South, all I was taught growing up is you better get a car.
Go off, kid.
You better ask nobody. Take you nowhere.
You better get a car.
You better get a car.
That's very interesting.
I'm being very honest with you. In the South, that's what it was because, again, I'm from Tuskegee. Very small place. We don't have city transportation and a whole bunch of buses and trains and all that kind of stuff. So even if you just need to go to work, you need transportation. That's what was preached to us growing up. That's what we saw growing up is car. But a car is one of the most depreciating things you could ever purchase.
Yeah, it's a huge liability, especially if you got a car note on it.
Oh, and unfortunately, I'm gonna take this to our culture. What do we want? The flashiest ones, the flashiest,
right?
Because labels come with recognition in our community.
Yeah, that's what Umar be talking about. He's like, look, we like looking good.
There you go.
But we don't really be good.
How many nice looking cars you see on the side of the road? Rims, nice paint job, everything. Because we like the outside. We're not thinking about the inside. So renting versus mortgage is the same thing to me. We're looking at the outside saying, oh, well, if I get in the market right now, I can't buy this big fabulous house that I want. Not realizing you're still losing money as you continue to rent.
Right.
You're helping the next person buy that big lavish house that you want because you're paying their mortgage. As I mentioned to Marcus, I did Airbnb for my basement. I made my mortgage plus. That's just the basement. That's for people that came for like 2 weeks out of the month. Renting is the same exact way. When you're renting, you're literally just giving money to someone for something that you'll never see any benefit from. So to go back to the point, it's always a good time to buy because you are going to be the owner of that. And I think that we look at ownership in ways that we miss out on. Owning a home, whether you still have a mortgage or not, is still an asset. So if I were to go to the bank and I have my asset, which is my home, you go to the bank and you got $40,000 in the bank, they still probably going to approve me before they approve you. My asset is still more than that cash you got. That liquid can be gone at any point in time. Somebody can break in, hack your account, any of those things, and it's gone. My house is still sitting there.
I mean, somebody could steal your title and kick you out.
Hey, that's going to be up to the city. They better keep it recorded. But no, we got to start looking at it differently. Like I think right now we look at buying a home as today. What is it doing today? What is it?
And I mean, that's a valid concern. I mean, that's a valid concern because if you say, I'm speaking for devil's advocate, I'm speaking for us in the cheap seats, right? What if you say, all right, look, where I'm living right now, I'm play devil's advocate. You argue against this.
Okay.
Where I'm living right now, Ken, I got a concierge. I don't have to fix it or make any repairs. And everything's updated. It's brand new. I got this nice kitchen. I have a luxury apartment. I'm close to everything in the city. If I try to buy something like this, I wouldn't be able to afford it. Right? My rent right now is $2,400. The house that I want is $4,000 a month. If I were to buy this type of property myself,
I'm gonna tell you from the beginning.
Make it happen.
If that house costs $4,000, it's definitely bigger and nicer than whatever apartment that you have.
That's
so let's say if you got something comparable to what you live in now, the amount of money that you are saving is going to be enough money to buy somebody to come cut your grass, buy somebody to come and move your mail. All these different apps they have somebody to come out and do anything you want them to do. They have somebody come out and sit and look at you if you want them to. So the point is, if you're thinking about comparable, like I've had this conversation with a couple friends I have in New York, and they say, the same thing. They have all these nice lavish things, but I live in my home. I have all of them. And guess what? The number one assistant I have, her name is Alexa. She does it all. Everything I tell her to do.
Wait, Alexa work for you too?
Oh, absolutely.
She worked for me too. She cheat.
She lied to
She
you.
would come over and say,
how dare you call Alexa cheat?
Barry, she's the cost of my internet service. What else can you do?
Yeah.
My second assistant is Sonos. Wonderful.
I mean, I think you make a very good point, bro.
Alexa and Sonos.
Listen,
Sonos run your pocket. No,
the amount of money I've saved because again, I will be honest with you. I had a 2-bedroom apartment in Oxon Hill, Maryland. My rent was $1,400. I have a 5-bedroom house in Baltimore. My mortgage is $1,381.
The numbers make sense.
So people may say, well, with that $1,400, you had somebody come take your trash out, and you had somebody to dip the snow and all that. Yeah, I went from 2 bedrooms to 5 bedrooms. So we're talking about apples and oranges. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's not.
And let's say something happened at that apartment that I was at. 30 days, I'm out the door.
Right.
Let's say something happens where I'm at my home.
Yeah,
sometimes foreclosures can take up to 5 years.
Yeah.
So if I need to get my life together, you will be doing it 30 days or 5 years. If I need the option, which one am I working with?
And that's a good point. I think that that's the point of this podcast, and that's one reason why I think Marcus and I started, and that's why we're really glad that you're here. That we can have these conversations. We can start these conversations, amongst people that we know, and You can reach out to us if you have questions. If you have, you want to talk about offline, we're always open. Marcus is always ready to answer questions or, even pull your credit profile and see where you are, where you're standing.
Yeah.
If you want to create a plan and you say, look, I'm not ready right now, Dan, but I want to create a plan. What I got to do, to get ready. Just holler at us. Let us know. Reach out in the DMs. Reach out in the comments. We're more than happy because like you said, real estate is a long-term play, and it's an asset class.
Right.
So you're not just gonna go to Target and buy a house. It's gonna take you. I mean, for me, it took me 2 years before I was ready to actually get my actual first investment property.
2 years.
Yeah. So let me say this though. So when we talk about real estate being a long-term play, and you talk about your client, I had a dude. Shout out to Herman Evans. I was 19 years old. I worked at Navy Federal Credit Union in the collection department. I was collecting on delinquent visas. And I was talking about assets and trying to build. This is when my 401k first became available. And I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But there was people that were playing lottery, right? And Powerball, whatever. And how everybody in the office, pool together, $5, whatever. And we were talking about stocks. We were talking about like trying to get rich and just trying to, be comfortable for whatever. And he was like, Herman said, and he was an older white dude. He said, do you own real estate? I said, no. I said, I'm trying to buy something. He was like, buy some real estate. Doesn't matter what you get, buy something. He said, and if you have stocks or bonds, mutual funds, that's a long-term play. It's not get in now and then move it around and make some money and get out. Funny enough, E-Trade came on the scene a couple of maybe months later or years later. But he would sit at his office, at his cubicle, and read the paper and watch the stock market and stuff like that. Internet wasn't that big at that time. This is 1997. 1997, 1999, something like
Marcus, tell us that age.
but check this out. He said, imagine if you're trying to hit that Powerball, imagine filling that floor up with a bunch of ping pong balls. So I'll even use this room. I fill this whole thing up with all white ping pong balls. And he said, drop one red one in and shake it up. Find the red one. That's your chance of getting getting that Powerball. And when we talk about people trying to time the market, the same thing. Like there's so many opportunities and properties coming on the market and whatnot. The chances of you finding that one property that meets your needs, that's dropping to in price or to make you feel like you got a deal. That's like trying to find that one red ball. Get what you can get and do it in a wise way, because when I did buy, and I'll just put a little bit out here, when I did buy, I bought that 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom condo for $54,000. I flipped it for $210 and sold it for $210. 6 years later, I took that money and put it into a townhouse and rented out the basement. And then, as time goes on, now I got a single family home with my wife and my children. So like, you progress, but like that first one is not your last one.
Right.
So get in and do what you can. Like if it's smart, do not wait, y'all. Like, because you cannot time the market. You cannot find this red ping pong ball in this market with how much it moves and all the different things. Ain't gonna happen.
And one point I want to stress too, before we even leave this topic, for our community, I think I started earlier saying we had less than 50% ownership.
Yeah,
I want our community to nothing against the investors. I want us to get out of this. I gotta buy it to sell it. I gotta buy it to sell it. There's so many other routes.
Right. Yeah.
There's so many other routes. And building that portfolio, in my opinion, is more important than that flip. That flip is gonna give you right now money.
That's a brilliant point. Is that
for sure.
Most people buy, like they're buying. I think the error in their thought process is how much will I make when I sell it?
I'm ready to sell it.
Yeah. I want to make sure when I buy it,
ain't he moved in
I
yet.
get it at a discount. And I was telling one of my clients this. We just closed on their house on Tuesday. I had to, it was him and his wife. Shout out to Mike, man. I love you, bro. He's one of the coolest dudes. Like he's like 6'8".
Oh.
Yeah, I was standing next to him in the picture. I look like his son. I was like, dude, why am I so short? He's a big dude.
The Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah.
They do construction.
Yeah, he's taller than he don't do construction. He's in IT.
No, I said they got it.
Yeah, we bought him. They bought a new construction house, and the conversation that we had to have was a come to Jesus moment, which was he's a good dude. He's young, enthusiastic. He's like, yeah, man, I just want he'll bring up a house. He'll be like for $425,000. He's like, yeah, we should put an offer in for like $375.
Oh Jesus!
And I was like, I was like, bro, look, listen, let's stop right here. Let's stop. Listen, And I went through the whole thing with him. Here's where the market was. Here's where we are right now. And we're still in the seller's market. The deal now is not that you got it for $50,000 below the list price. The deal now is that you didn't have to go $100,000 above the list price.
Right.
The deal now is that you get a home inspection. The deal now is that you don't have to use an appraisal gap. The deal now is that you don't have to remove your financing contingency. So now that's the deal. And I think that level set is really, really important. An important conversation for us to be having, amongst ourselves and with our clients is, the deal now is that you get it at a fair market value.
Yes. Absolutely. And
that's
honestly,
the deal.
All of my recent contracts, we've got some type of closing help.
Closing cost help is back in full force.
It's definitely.
I don't know. I haven't submitted any offers. I haven't got any closings without closing cost help.
The thing is, we're back, and see, this goes back to when I was saying practically it does feel like a buyer's market.
For sure.
Because we're at a space now where agents are offering bonuses to other agents to close a deal. Sellers are offering closing help. That wasn't happening. That was out the door.
Because their assets turned to a liability because they got something else they're trying to move on to.
There you go. So
that brings us to the real estate hot or not. What do you think about that? That's cool, right?
I like it. That's cute for y'all. I saw that.
You said that's cute for y'all. I know what that means.
Ken, I always feel like
I know what that means. I know how to translate gay, and I know what that means.
I always feel like it's from like Men on Film and Living Color.
Oh, I hated it.
I gotta Google that because I still don't know what you're talking about.
I need you to.
I hated
it. He went to a strict church, apostolic. He was apostolic, and I grew up Baptist.
Yeah,
what church you grew up in?
90s culture until like 2001.
Baptist, and I did a little bit in Latter-day Saints. I did that for a couple of years.
You was a Latter-day Saint?
Yeah, for a couple of years actually. Baptized in the
John
church
Smith.
and all. Yep.
Keep going. Let's go. How did not?
Yep. Listen.
So we're gonna do the would you rather. I want to do the would you rather with Ken. This gonna be good.
Ken, you ready?
We gotta throw some LGBT in here before I leave.
We already did the LGBT. We want to do more LGBT.
We did it on microphone.
No, we was recording. We got it.
I don't know how much of that we're gonna put on here though. That might.
No, I'm putting all of it on there. We don't edit on the real estate.
Yeah, because I gotta represent my community. That's why. What you
want to talk? Because we already talked about the top bottom verse that I already know.
That's not what I want.
Yeah, we're not. No.
Talking about the extent of my LGBT knowledge.
No.
Excuse my ignorance. That's like when white people be talking about black people stuff. They're like, "You like hip hop, right?" Like I know, black people are more than just hip hop, right?
So here's how I want to lead us into that.
Straight men are the white people of the gay world.
I want you to talk about
the sad part. Make you mad now. I say it's black women.
Ooh. I want you to highlight the trolley tour first,
okay,
and then I want you to talk about LGBT. Q. Do I throw the Q on there?
You better start. So that's crazy because I'm gonna ask you the same thing.
Yeah.
I never voted.
That's what.
Who decided? I don't know.
It's like seems like a new letter. Now there's A, and then there's like two spirit.
I can't.
Hold on, because you be too much on the internet learning.
No, this is a real thing.
But I'm gonna be
honest.
You're
not on it, but you know what I'm talking about.
But hold on. But
you know what I'm talking about, right?
I want you to talk. I want you to talk about the Charlie tour, but I also want you to talk about that community, right? Because you talk about LGBTQ, but that's where you and I have done a lot of business because that's where you get a lot of your business from. So Charlie tour, and then talk about the LGBTQ, and then we go.
So I'm gonna make a little bit of y'all audience upset.
Do it. I can guarantee you cannot upset the real estate wire squad.
Listen,
because they would have left already. If I haven't done it, it can't be done.
I identify with my LGBTQ community first, my black community second.
Okay, keep going.
That's because that's where I get my support from.
Okay.
I get my support from the LGBT community because I'm not. I think my community can separate what I do at home versus what I'm doing outside. And what I mean by that is I can get a LGBTQ client that is 100% about business. I can get a heterosexual client that is worried about me being LGBTQ versus me just being a realtor. That's not just in real estate. I feel like that's been my whole life. I could be the smartest person in the room, but the topic is, what do I do at home? What do I do in my bedroom? And again, I don't want to upset the audience, but my personal opinion is it comes from the black woman. And I say that because the black woman is the one that builds or takes away confidence. And if the black woman were to empower the black men the way I know that they could, all this down low stuff will be out the window. Because a man saying to another man, if he said, Marcus, you ugly, he don't care. But if a beautiful black woman came here and said, Marcus, you ugly, you ain't gonna act like you care, but it's gonna affect you a lot more than he did.
Yeah, she be lying too. Though.
You are ugly. You are,
but
ugly,
that's a fact. So even growing up,
piggyback off of his example. That's a fact. That was a good example. That was like the perfect. Like
that's the truth.
I was so close to joining on you.
We need our black women to stand up for us because again, just imagine this little black guy going to school. If his mom has empowered him so much, and dads too. But I'm just saying, when that woman steps up and that woman supports you and she's behind you, it's little that other people can say or do to you. But our black community, as far as women, they will tear a man down.
I think you know, I want to add to that point, which is you're exactly right. Huh?
I was telling Ken, thank you for that because like
you're exactly right, bro. Because the thing is, and I'll broaden it as a heterosexual, the representative for the entire heterosexual planet.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. No, well, look. Here's the deal. The deal. And I think one of the biggest problems is not just is black women, but I'll say toxic femininity just in general. By and large.
Because smoking hookah is feminine.
See,
where'd that come from? I just heard that over the past week.
That came from another little podcast.
Okay.
And then one of our gays compounded on it.
Compounded.
I'm not gonna. It's just too much. It's just too much.
That's my point. I think that at the end of the day, it's about what you do and what you don't do. You can be gay. All right, fine. What do you do and what do you not do? How do you affect people? How do you take care of your family and your community? You're gay. Like, come on. Who you have sex with? That's like, who cares?
Exactly.
It's not the biggest. And I'm going to make the gay LGBTQ community a little bit upset. Who cares, man? Like. Okay. And I get it. I understand that they've been a part of a disenfranchised community and da. And at the same time, like, all right, I think that leading with I'm gay is kind of like I'm leading with I have sex with women, which is like, who cares who you have sex with?
I get what you're saying, but I'm gonna tell you why. We want to go in, and the sad part is I'm at odds with my father right now at this moment for this exact reason. It's take me as I am or not at all. And that's what it is. I don't want to. I think we've been in a place too long where we've been tolerated instead of accepted. And we don't want to be there anymore. So now, do I grant
so your dad not down with you being gay?
It's going to be a longer conversation. My dad is okay with me being gay, but he's not okay with the gay community. And me trying to get him to understand you can't separate the two is where we're at.
Which aspect of the gay community? Because I can understand where he's coming from with that. Not to get too deep into the water, but
well, I mean, you may have to have that conversation as well. The story leads back very briefly. My niece asked, "Was there a problem with man kissing his son in the mouth?" My dad said
I kiss my son in the mouth all the time.
My dad said no, but then he elaborated to say that it's a problem if a grown man kisses another man. That just spewed hatred into her mind. Because every time that she sees an adult male kiss another male, it's been correlated. My granddad told me that this is a problem. So when I say that meeting you, I'm a gay man, it means I'm not gonna let you come on and say, "Oh, I like Ken because he's a black dude. I like Ken because he's a realtor, but I don't like him because he's gay."
For sure.
So I'm gonna put it out there from the beginning. This is who I am, and you got a choice to accept it all or nothing. Because we don't want to get down the road, and now I put this time, this interest, and I'm trying to build a genuine friendship with you. I'm trying to build a genuine business, and now because of something that really doesn't affect you, it's been affected how we're working. That could be
I think you got to look at people and understand how people treat you. Like, for example, let's say a particular political affiliation, right? I don't go out and say I'm this or I'm that. It's like, who cares? Can you sell me a house or can you not, right? And so by the same now, if you look at me, you say, "Hey, I don't particularly like your political beliefs, right? Whether if you're on the left or you're on the right." Okay, that's fine. Am I going to lead with saying, "Hey, this is how I believe politically"? Now, do you accept me? Right now, being gay obviously is a little bit more evident or noticeable, depending on how you present. Right?
Partially, yes.
So if you interact with somebody online and then they meet you in person and be like, "This dude's kind of feminine. I don't like him. Are you gay?" okay, I don't want to work with gay
And the
people.
sad part is, I think that though there are some people,
And I think that's a bad thing for the record.
in every situation, there are some for and some against. But I'm gonna say honestly, I feel like most times than not, it's the other side bringing it in versus us. Like I'm just gonna show. I never came to Marcus and said, "Marcus, I'm a gay realtor." Right. That's not what I said to Marcus.
And we had a conversation about 3 months ago, 2 months ago, something like that. And I might have initiated a conversation, but I was like, Ken, I don't know how to. I don't. You remember
approach the conversation?
I don't know how to approach the conversation because this is one of the nicest guys I've met. One of the most high integrity men that I know. Let's say just in this world that we're in, and that's the reason how we connected. But what you do at the house off hours, I've never thought about. Right now, over time, and I don't
understand why that would even affect what you do as a real estate agent.
It doesn't.
But I understand. But here, and one thing we have to also consider is the religious aspect. We may not agree with it, but it's a real thing. It exists, and there are genuine people who think, I don't want to work with anybody who's gay because gay people are all going to burn in eternal damnation.
So, and
you have to make room for that point.
So
right?
every here we go. I just every religious organization, every culture group, I would say that has a deity, somebody they worship or whatever, they have a viewpoint, or they have it written as to what their Bible, their Quran, their whatever might say about particular subjects. Men, and they talk about relationships. Now, it may be we all got stuff. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I can say as a Christian man is that the Bible is clear that we have all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Now,
Christians pick that one particular sin.
Right.
But they don't care about gluttony. They don't care about being slothful or being lascivious or fornication. They don't care about none of those.
But here's the big part. We can read and we can talk it through and we can whatever, and we can come to agreement or be on opposite sides of the fence of certain subjects. But what you do in your personal life and how you approach that, I don't have. Number one, if you didn't invite me into that to speak to it, then I'm forcing my way into your life or with you into your life because you're not a Christian. You raised in the church and you read Kabbalah, right?
I study Kabbalah, yeah.
Kabbalah. You study Kabbalah.
I'm not a really good Kabbalah student.
Okay. But neither one of you have invited me into the conversation to try to bring clarity to some things that I think you might need clarity on. Mm-hmm. And vice versa. You've never brought me in, never
and stepped over. You haven't either.
And I haven't, right?
Because
what I know is the God that I serve wants me to treat the people, not just y'all, whatever your preferences are or not, whatever your skin color is or not, treat you a certain way. Now, just somebody said, I think it was you don't care how much you know until you know how much you care, right? Mm-hmm. And the relationship that Ken and I have, Dan and I have, is one of care and concern for just y'all as men, for me as a man. If I was in a down situation, with my family, whatever, and I felt that we had the relationship where I could provide them, I need your help. Me being heterosexual has nothing to do with you being able to help me. You be like, all right, I got you.
So let me ask you this question. What do you think about this? All right.
Hold on. But before I think there's also a level of judgment that we put on people and things that are not like us, right? Mm-hmm. And the reality is we have such a finite understanding. We don't even understand how all of it works. So put it all together, we just start talking and operating and doing certain things and pushing away. And that's just not how this world should be. Yeah. So that's why I say that you haven't invited me into the conversation, and maybe you never will, and I ain't gonna ever force it, but there's a level of love that I have for this brother that I don't, that does not matter. Right. Like you said, who cares? That's the way I feel. Like, it does not matter.
I want one small piece, and this is what I told my dad, and I want to put out to anybody listening. You can disagree with something without talking negatively about it.
That's for sure.
For sure.
That's the one point I want to put out. What I tried to explain to him was, you could have told my niece, this is not something that your granddad does. This is not something that your granddad participates with. But you're going to see it, and those people are just different. Mm-hmm. Those people just do something different than you do. You don't say that there's a problem with it. that's the part that I feel like people are not getting. You can disagree and not participate without talking down on. That's the biggest part.
Stand where you need to stand, but don't stand on somebody to get your point across.
So let's get to would you rather. All right, because we got to wrap it up. I don't want to keep you here all day.
Because I'm a chatter too. So listen.
Would you rather be in? Oh, we already did this one. All right, here we go. Ooh, this is a good one. Would you have another 10 years with your partner or a one-night stand with your celebrity crush?
10 years with my partner.
I'm single, so it's going to be celebrity crush.
My wife's watching, so
listen, I'm a celebrity
crush. But me and my wife already had this discussion because I've already told her, like, look, you can have your celebrity crush. Her celebrity crush, I'm about to embarrass you, wife. Her celebrity crush is Justin Bieber. What? And she loves some Justin Bieber. I know. I'm like, well, you don't like no black people. Anyway, she like Justin Bieber. My celebrity crush is Karuchi. So we've already made the pact. We've already agreed. If in her lifetime she meets Justin Bieber, I give her permission to do all that is in her heart to do. Mm-hmm. Just that one person. And she, vice versa, has given me permission. Karuchi, if you're listening. She ain't. If you are, Karuchi, I have permission for my celebrity crush, which is Karuchi.
This is a day and age where stuff go viral. You never expected to go viral. So
Karuchi. What's good?
You got a hashtag and see if it pop up.
Hashtag Karuchi. Yeah, she's my kryptonite right there, Karuchi. Would you rather be chronically underdressed or chronically overdressed?
Overdressed.
Because Murray's a pretty boy. I told you that. Wow. See, we fit in.
But I can get the layers off though.
Okay, so in my homosexual mindset, I thought differently. I thought like you got on a 3-piece suit and everybody else got on pajamas.
Am I gay?
Oh. What'd you say?
I cannot.
I had like a tux and like a bow tie.
You thinking like layers?
Yeah.
We thinking like
he's thinking like
category or style wise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, queen.
But I'm the extra person.
Yeah.
I'm the extra person, so I'm always gonna be. No, actually, if I think everybody else is gonna be dressed really high, then I'll tone it down because I always like to do one stand out. So,
I'd rather be overdressed. I mean, I could always just like unbutton. You know what I'm saying?
No, I could just
let my chest hair hang out a little bit.
You do, so okay,
that's not a lie.
What are we talking about
in the gay world, right?
That's what you say. You overdressed. There's no such thing as overdressed.
He playing you off that 6 that he gave you earlier.
No, he gave me a 6.
What? Hey, listen.
And this how he did it though. This how he gave me a 6. He said like a 6, 7.
Let me be honest.
He tried to slide the 7 in, but he
I don't
really
even think I'm a 10 in the gay world. To me, I'm a 10. But to the vast majority of gays,
your ranking of yourself doesn't really matter. Nobody cares about how you rank yourself.
The gays are strange.
I mean, there's girls out here that I'm a 10, baby.
Okay, exactly.
What's your definition of 10? What do you mean by you're not a 10?
Exactly.
On a scale of what? 100? Like no. Everybody's not a 10. If everybody's a 10, then what's a 10? Then I mean, then you're a 0.
But it's a 10 to who? Because I see some people that I find are very unattractive. There's a larger lasting relationships.
But there's a larger pool of people that are attracted to a certain type of person than there are these niche. What do you call them? Fetishes. Like if you right. That's what the definition of a fetish is, right? Mm-hmm. Last one. Would you rather have everyone you know be able to read your thoughts, or everyone you know to have access to your internet history?
Internet history.
Internet history.
I think.
I mean, your thoughts do probably inform your internet history.
I think the best and worst of probably everybody is just in me.
Even the websites that you deleted.
Yeah.
Because
think about this, you got to think about it before you go and put it on the internet. So everything that you thought about is going to be on there.
Yeah,
I'm okay. Oh, you mean the websites that you already thought of?
You didn't thought of it, so they're going to hear that too.
I still rather people hear my thoughts because I'm tired of filtering myself all the time. I would tell my wife this like
you want everybody to be able to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, just hear.
What was that movie? Liar, Liar.
Yeah, Liar, Liar.
No, but he could hear everybody else's thoughts. Everybody else would be able to hear.
There was another movie like that where she could hear everybody's thoughts. It was Think Like a Man.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
All the men thoughts.
Remember Think Like a Man? Mm-hmm. And that was based off of another.
They done that movie like kind of like 3-4 times in the last like
they remade it like that. Think Like a Woman.
Was
Think Like a Man.
Yeah.
So let's get to the comment section, everybody.
Got mail.
One of the questions that I got was how to use your 401k to purchase investment properties. I'm going to let you handle that one, Mark, because I know you love talking about it.
Yeah, I was going to say I love talking about that because there are people that ask about down payment assistance programs and things, and you get into those specialty programs, because they obviously don't have the money, liquid. So you get into those programs, a lot of times your interest rates are higher. It can take longer to get it done. You might have to pay additional fees. But if you've already been working at a job, I'll use a government employee because they have what's called a TSA, right? I mean TSP, not TSA. TSP, Thrift Savings Plan.
Take a trip, Marcus?
Huh?
You trying to take a trip?
Listen, we were talking about South Africa earlier.
Okay.
But TSP, Thrift Savings Plan, it's your 401k essentially that the government has. And don't mess with me because I don't know all of it. Don't work for the government. But basically, as you work, you accrue money and they match it. And then over time, I see people that end up having 30, 50, 100. I see people that have 300,000 sitting in their TSP and they're putting money into it every single, every pay period. Well, if you've already got the money and you can tap into that and you can say, hey, they already have a lot of times a provision if you want to buy real estate, you want to buy a home. They also have provisions for hardships, things like that. So if you call your HR department, say I know I've got a 401k, I've got a TSP. Can I use it for a down payment on a home? Absolutely,
we did it for one.
Yeah.
Now, is that a loan? Do you have to pay that back, or how does that work?
A lot of so depending on how it is, sometimes like if you have like Fidelity. Which is not through the TSP, but like you get Fidelity, and that's where your employer pours money into. You can actually get it out as one lump sum, and then you can actually pay taxes on it, and it be counted as taxable income. Or sometimes, like with the TSP, you can actually go to them, get like what we call a TSP loan, and that TSP loan, you might take out $50,000 for down payment and closing costs, or 30 or whatever it may be, and then every single pay period, you're paying it back, right?
So you can do a loan or you can do a early withdrawal.
Yeah, you can do it.
Now, if you do an early withdrawal and you buy real estate with it, do you have to pay taxes on that?
So when you get the early withdrawal, they put that money in, like they wire it to your checking and savings account, right? So I don't believe know what it's always what it's for. Like, well, they do because you ask for it.
Yeah, you have to put the purpose of your withdrawal.
Yeah, you pay purpose of the withdrawal. Say I'm trying to buy a home. Now, between you and them, there's a promissory note, and you have like I think it's like a 0.2% or 2%
So if it's a loan,
payback.
you don't have to pay taxes on a loan because you're basically borrowing money from yourself,
right?
Against future earnings.
And for us as a lender, we don't count that money against your debt ratio when we see when we see that you got to pay them back $100 a month. You're using your own money, so we don't count that against you.
And that interest goes towards you too, right? When you're paying back on some of those loans.
You know, I wonder if they give you an interest statement at the end of the year.
From my understanding,
you can deduct the interest.
No, some of the interest. So when I had a 401k,
when you get
when you're paying
loan.
back the interest that they're taking out of your account, it actually just goes back to your account too.
That
so
makes
you
sense.
do have interest on it, but it's going back to you.
Because you're loaning the money to yourself, so you're the lender.
Yeah,
you're paying interest to yourself, not the bank. So
I would say for you to, if you have a 401k and you've been investing in it for let's say maybe 2 years or so, and you want to buy a home. And you don't have the money for the down payment, your money might be sitting in your 401k already and you don't know it. So make a phone call to your HR department and ask, do you have access to the money for the purpose of buying a home? If they say yes, then you ask how much you have access to. If they say, okay, it's in Fidelity or something like that, then you'll have to have a conversation directly with Fidelity. They will give you the options. And I actually did this for the purchase of, because I had an old 401k just sitting there, wasn't doing nothing with it. So I called them and said, can I get that money? Well, yeah. And they said, do you want to take taxes out right away? Or do you want to just take all the money? So I said, take the taxes out now. And then, but I did have to count that, whatever, 15, 20, whatever it was, as taxable income. So if I made $150,000 that year, and I got $20,000, then on my tax returns I had to include that, so I'm at $170. So it's a very, 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 very good tool to use. And
make sure to holler at Coach Marcus. If you have more questions, make sure to holler out at Coach Marcus. If you want more information about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, make sure to reach out to me, Dan, at danwillersellshomes.com. Ken, where can they find you at, brother?
I am on social media, Christopher Ken Macon, as Marcus says. Go on Google, hashtag making it happen. Making like bacon, MACONIT happen, LLC, that's me. I'm on Facebook, social media,
fashion.
Facebook,
You're the fashion realtor.
I am the fashion realtor of the DMV.
And where can they find you at, Coach Marcus?
At Mortgage Coach Marcus. And again, stay tuned for some updates. great announcements coming in the next couple of weeks.
We got some really cool things coming up. So we're going to keep you guys updated. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube to like, subscribe, and share this content with anybody that you think might think is dope. Make sure to hit that notifications button so that you're the first to know when we drop new videos and new content. We drop every single Wednesday. So for all of us here at the Real Estate Wire, I'm Dan the Realtor, and we are out.